What's going on, everybody? It is time for some groovy talking about WandaVision. I almost feel like I need to slip into like the Austin Powers. Yeah, baby, totally groovy. And now in color, WandaVision. What's going on, y'all? We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm distraught by your Austin Powers, and my name is Chris Adams.
Well, hi, Mr. Distraught. My name is Chris Adams. What a weird name. They could just parents could just left it right at Chris Adams. You know, it just would have been fine.
They did.
Yeah, and so what's going on, y'all? It is Friday night. We got a third episode of WandaVision, and man, there was some weirdness going on in there. I heard there was going to be a cheese plate in this episode. Lots of cheese. Oh, you know, I'm actually kind of in the mood for cheese, but I have a feeling I might be slightly lactose intolerant. I don't know. I need to really nail down exactly what's going on in my digestive system. But besides that, let's talk about this WandaVision episode that was going on tonight. Thank you, Vernon, for being here as the show gets started. Anyone else who's here, feel free to let us know in the chat. If y'all haven't seen this third episode of WandaVision, warning, there's about to be some spoilers. We're going to talk about spoilers and Easter eggs and all the fun stuff that's going on with this crazy show.
Yeah, that's the thing with these is we're going to break down Easter eggs. We're going to break down theories and thoughts and all that sort of stuff on this show. So if for some reason you haven't watched it, you clicked on the wrong video. Watch it first, come back and hang out, probably on the replay after the fact. So a lot to dive into. I will make sure, though, that everybody who is watching is subscribed, has hit that like button, and doing all sorts of stuff. I know you can't comment yet, but you can hang out with us in the chat, and that's just as fun, if not a little bit funner, because we can, you know, do that kind of stuff. We can highlight Vernon's comments there. Yeah.
If y'all have any questions, comments, anything else y'all want to make sure we definitely see and highlight, there is streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. You could do that. You could also hit the super chat. We prefer the Streamlabs, as like most YouTubers do. So hit that. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. Up there, hop on a tier that could help us as long as it's in the vein of what you can afford. Or I could just say, just pick the tier that's right for you. I just didn't want to say that because that's what everyone says. But anyways, fun stuff happening on over there at the Patreon. Go hop on that.
There's all manners of tiers over there. Some fun stuff. The aptly named Avengers tier is the one that we like to highlight here because as we get into doing some rankings and stuff, we got some Marvel-themed ones coming at you guys here pretty soon. And there's going to be some extra bonus content that you will get only at that Avengers tier. So you're going to want to maybe consider hopping on that one. Get some of that bonus content in your life.
That's that $10 tier, correct? I believe is the Avengers tier.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So how appropriate that we're going to have extra bonus footage about us talking about Marvel on the Avengers tier. So $10 tier, good stuff right there. Anyway,
we planned this.
Almost. Let's jump into this episode because Rachel says she doesn't want it broken down. She wants to stay in the illusion with Wanda for a long time. I would say that's the overall key thing that we've really gotten like a good grasp with this particular episode is we now have a really good idea that most of this is seemingly an illusion that Wanda is creating. It's just someone else might be controlling and having a hand in it as well. I got a couple of theories as we get towards more of like the Easter eggs and like the screenshots that I got for this. As we break down more of those, then I can dive more into that theory a bit. But a couple of
that's the thing with this week is that last week we broke down the first and second episode. We only got one episode this week, and I feel kind of spoiled by last week's double episode because after this one, I was like, "Wait, no! I want another episode. Give me another episode right now! No! Don't stop! Oh, I have to wait another week." And
especially given the way this one ended,
how I don't learn because the Mandalorian did this to me, and now WandaVision, and it's gonna happen with every single one of these shows, isn't it? I'm going to have to wait every single week, but we are going to kind of give you our thoughts, some reviews of this stuff, and break down those little Easter eggs and whatnot. So There's a little bit that we discovered here, and there's some stuff that I actually want to take some reins of at some point during this and kind of backtrack now that we've got some things revealed. Let's go back and look at the first 2 episodes again in different places and kind of what just happened.
Yeah. So as we touch upon some of the stuff that seems to be like a clearing your view of what happened in the previous episodes, we'll dive into that as well. We're just going to run through this whole kind of like episode type of thing and just go through like what we saw and whatnot with this, kind of help break some of it down. I know one of them right off the bat that I want to get to before we actually jump into the episode. One of the things that Disney did particular this week is give all of these episodes a title. So we've started with this one's title being Now in Color. It's kind of cool because, again, I know like a lot of people have said this. You've probably seen it all over Twitter and everywhere else on the internets. This episode obviously was a very direct tie-in to the Brady Bunch. I mean, the beginning of it, the feeling of it, they got like at the end of the opening, I didn't grab a screenshot of this, but they had like all the little hexagons going around. And that's why they're hexagons, because she's a witch. So hex makes sense. But then just as the episode actually begins and you're like, man, this kind of feels like a Brady Bunch episode. And then they go, boom, there's the Brady Bunch stairs first right off the bat. Clearly, obviously, that's the Brady Bunch staircase. I mean,
it's as homage as you can get without actually being the actual thing.
Like I was waiting for like Jan and Peter to come like walking down the steps going, hi, or whatever groovy things they would say on that show. I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid, but I mean, been a while.
Marsha.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name? What?
So Marsha, the episode began with them doing the whole opening is them now obviously in the 70s. They're all running around the city and stuff, showing them in what looked like 70s outfits 70 times. A lot of it was parts of the city that we saw before, like the gazebo from the last episode. Seeing that set now in color, hence the title. I actually have it kind of like playing here to kind of remind me of exactly what was happening with this, but seeing all that now updated is really cool. So I like that.
The episode titles have been fun though, because now that we've like passed them, you can go back and you can actually see what like the other 2 were named as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was what was it? It was a film before a live studio audience and Don't Touch That Dial.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for one that's going to be kind of like a message from our sponsors or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that to happen. Or we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors. Something kind of to that extent. Like, where is that going to come to play? But I have a feeling that we're not going to be staying in the TV show theme too much longer, or it's not going to carry over as much here going forward. Maybe a little bit more in the next episode, but after that, it's going to bounce in and out of stuff like crazy. But
let me see. So the next couple things I want to mention on this, definitely we're dealing with Wanda being pregnant. We covered this in the last one because the end of the second episode hinted at Wanda being pregnant. So of course we knew this was possibly going to lead into we knew that this was going to lead into possibly the mentioning of Speed and Wiccan, Wanda's kids.
Side note, I just found a hotkey on my keyboard.
Yeah, good job. So that was something that we knew going into this, and of course Wanda's pregnant, but now it's the whole like Speed pregnancy. She's just flying through it, which kind of makes sense given some of the stuff in here. I guess the number one thing I really want to tackle about this is what we've really learned overall. Because of things, I'm gonna jump straight to the end here. And then we'll backtrack through this episode as stuff that is seemingly supporting that. At the very end, we get the whole thing with Geraldine / Monica Rambeau being thrown outside of this shimmer thing that looks like Natalie Portman's Annihilation. But then she's thrown out of this, and then we get a shot of her laying on the ground while seemingly all these sword agents are gathering around her. But then you see that shimmer in the background with what looks like stadium lights, that it looks like the beyond that shimmer is containing the world of WandaVision. And that's it's within there. So this is kind of this looks a lot like what was it? What did you say earlier? It was like Truman Show.
Yeah, it's like a cross between Truman Show and Hiding Themyscira in Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So and that's the kind of thing I'm getting is it's like a world hiding within the actual world. It is definitely the true. I'm catching so many things in this episode. I'm catching so many Truman Show vibes in this episode. Not even just that little gate right there. It is the people within and all the stuff that we're going to talk about there. And there's definitely going to be some stuff to talk about there based on information that we got in this episode.
There seems to be a lot that is really pointing more towards this is a world that Wanda is creating herself. She's obviously in control. Last week we had when they showed the beekeeper coming out, and then Wanda was like, no, and then quickly reversed everything and redid that whole thing. We kind of had something similar to like that in this episode, but there wasn't that no break. It was just a flat out skip. And
which is weird because it was so disturbing. It creeped me out.
Well, here's what happened on me, because I'm sitting there watching this and I'm like, in certain points, I'm like pausing and trying to see, is there an Easter egg or something in depth that I want to talk about later? Well, what happened is at this exact moment, I paused it, was looking for something or another, trying to think of something, and went to play it again. And then the second it played again, it started over with him, with Vision, like kind of suspecting something's going on. Like, did I hit the wrong button? So for about a minute or so, I was playing like reverse just to make sure I didn't accidentally skip something. I was like, wait, this is what the episode actually did. And I happened to nail it right at that moment and
they got you
the heck out of me.
They got you.
That was brilliant. And when I went back and watched it, I was like, that's what it's doing. It's doing the Wanda's causing it in reverse, because Vision is asking too many questions. He's now on top of what's going on, seemingly, and he's asking too much. And she's like, nope, I don't want to confront that. This looks like it's definitely building a world where Wanda doesn't have to deal with reality anymore. She doesn't have to deal with the fact that 1, her brother's dead, 2, Vision's dead, 3, like half of the world was dead before they all got snapped back into place. There's definitely, this is dealing with her psyche, which, if you're familiar with the comics, Scarlet Witch's psyche is a very delicate place to be at. And I think some of this, what this opened up for this is going back to the previous episodes, the connections that you can now see, given what this particular episode has seemingly cemented. Like Chris, you said you had some pointers from the previous ones.
Yeah, I mean, so we can dive a little bit forward here. I know there's some like other screenshots and stuff you had prepared for this, but we can dive forward to the one with both Herb and Agnes. Yeah. The conversation that these two were having, and it even goes into the conversation that Vision was having with the doctor as the doctor was leaving. He was going to go on his vacation. He was going to take a trip, and then he said, "No, I don't think I'm going to take my trip after all. It's just something about these small towns where you just can't escape." Which told me, hold on. So the doctor isn't really there either. Like he isn't somebody who is just made up part of this world either. He's a real person. just like I already suspected that Geraldine was in the last episode, because she hesitated when giving her name, which I actually have something for that, but I'll get there in a second.
I was like, the other thing with her real quick is the fact that she was the only person we knew going into this that we knew she was Monica Rambeau.
I wish I didn't. I wish they didn't give that information, honestly.
I think they did that on purpose, though. Because here's the thing. Like, again, we're all suspecting here that Agnes is Agatha Harkness here. And again, the image that we have, see that in this image, you see that jewel that's on Agatha Harkness's collar, same kind of jewel that Agnes is wearing. Man, this is so confusing. That Agnes is wearing on her necklace. I fully 100% believe that Agnes is Agatha Harkness. I am backing that theory right now, and I think that's one of those things that they did on purpose with Geraldine. Is they went ahead and told us that it is Monica Rambeau. Yeah. And that's why she's the first one that we seemingly are getting outside of this WandaVision world.
That's the thing, though. I kind of wish that they didn't tell us that she was Monica Rambeau. I kind of wish that they just left that a secret and left us to wonder who that was. I know that, to some degree they have to announce who they have to announce based on upcoming movie projects and TV shows and all the stuff that she's actually going to be a part of later on down the line. But I would have loved that mystery and just having it be a reveal within this show. So for those who don't like read comics or don't keep up with the news, we're sorry that we just spoiled who that is for you. Anyway, so to go further in there, after
I like how I turned my shoulders, like whatever, just you're spoiled.
Yeah. After the doctor takes off, you see Agnes talking to Herb, and they're kind of like something they're keeping to themselves. They're quietly whispering to themselves, like, do you think that she knows something? Does this, that, and the other? Did you see that she looks pregnant or whatever? It's that kind of stuff. And Vision's out there going, "Hey, neighbors," and they're like, "Hi," and then they kind of go back to their own quiet conversation. He's like, "You guys okay? What's going on over there?" And then they kind of start having that nervous conversation. And then it leads into, hey, is Geraldine still in there with her? Oh, that's not a good thing. Why is she still in there? And then it's like, well, why is that not a good thing? She's like, well, she's new to town. She doesn't have a home. She's a nobody. And she was sent here because we're. And then Agnes looking at her going, don't do it. Don't say nothing. And what that does for all of us is that it tells us actually all the people in this town are real people who weren't made up. They're all stuck there in some capacity. I don't think it's by choice. I think they're all being forced there in some way. Either that or they're all paid actors in some capacity, which I don't buy that at all.
Yeah, because Herb was seemingly wanting to reveal. He was wanting to talk about it. Yep. Like, we're here because and like that's one of the things that, like, I feel like some of these people were just plants in this. Like Herb, obviously, I want to say he's a plant because at the beginning when he's sitting there trimming the lawn or trimming the hedges, he obviously doesn't know how to use a hedge trimmer because he's sitting there like cutting a gigantic slice in the fence there, and just doesn't know how to use those. And that's what Vision's calling him out. He's like, "Oh, okay,
yeah, whoops, I made a mistake."
Like sitting here cutting the hedge.
Yeah, so, that's the funny thing is that you see that face that he's making during that. It looks like he's like very distracted, very distraught. Like, I'm making sure everything's okay and not paying attention to what I'm actually doing. And
a plant who doesn't know how to trim a plant. There you go.
Bingo. Exactly. So I wrote out some notes because I wanted to kind of go back now that I have this idea that these people are actual real people. They're being forced into this reality in some capacity, either by Wanda or by somebody else who we can get into here in a little bit as a theory that could be going on, especially based on the twins.
But hey, that's just a theory.
That's theory. That's not our shtick. We're getting sued. What? Anyway, so I wanted to go back to that first episode. Some main players that happened in that first episode were Mr. Hart and Mrs. Hart, Vision's boss from work, coming over for the dinner party. If you go back and you are looking at, you're looking at what's happening during the actual dinner, especially now that we see instances where Wanda wants to shut down people whenever they're diving a little bit too deep into what's really going on. You'll see that when Hart starts choking in that first episode, if you look at Wanda's hand, she caused him to start choking. It was her that caused him to start choking because he was going, "Where are you guys from? When were you married? Why?" He was pressing too hard, too many questions.
You know, It's really weird when I do this. When Wanda does it, normal, but when I do it,
weirdo. Yeah.
Creeper.
So Wanda caused him to start choking, and his wife in the scene at first starts going, stop it, like as a jest to her husband. But then you see her turn and look at Wanda, and that's when she kept going, stop it, which tells me that she knew that Wanda was causing him to choke.
Yeah.
In which case, that tells me that they both know that Wanda has powers. And Vision, obviously, taking the food out, and then he pops back up and goes, well, time to go. And Vision, we're going to give you a promotion. Let me talk to you next time on Monday. He was there because he was a new hire. They were doing a new hire dinner. If you remember the conversation earlier at work, they were doing a new hire dinner, not a, if this dinner goes well, you get a promotion dinner. He just threw the promotion out there to appease Wanda because Wanda nearly killed him. So that's a funny little thing. I know it's like that stop it scene. That makes so much more sense now that you're thinking, okay, everybody in this reality is actually real, and they're kind of being forced here. Let's see.
That kind of reminds me of like Children of the Corn, where all the kids are trying to worship, was it He Who Walks Behind the Rose type of thing? It's like, we're all here just to appease Wanda. Like, oh my God, so sorry, Wanda. We didn't mean to do that to you, Wanda. That's essentially what's happening in this world with this.
And it actually gets even deeper and deeper as you go on.
The thing I like about this, like and I can pinpoint this is one of my thoughts that I like, is I remember when this show was first announced, they called it WandaVision, which sounds like a very stupid title. Like, it's just Wanda and Vision pushed together. But now I'm starting to understand that there's some meaning behind this particular title. It's like whenever you watch something in color vision or in natural vision, the one that like you hear a lot of people talking about is One Day, or at the very least John Landis, smell-o-vision type of thing. Ugh. Or no, that was it was a feel around vision type of thing. For those of y'all familiar with the Kentucky Fried Movie, great movie, great skit. But you see this is advertised specifically like in the 50s, 60s, where this show started, with a movie being presented in something vision.
Yeah.
This show is being presented to you in WandaVision. The word vision has nothing to do with the actual character of Vision. It is in Wanda's perspective. That's what that title means. It has nothing to do with Vision. That just happens to be an Alanis Morissette ironic that Vision is a part of it.
It does have something to do with Vision. It doesn't not have anything to do with Vision.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I like this. Do both of them know Miss Hart seemed a little oblivious till after the choking accident? That is true. I believe it is actually true that some people, based on when they arrive in this reality, some may not be completely familiar with the rules of the reality. One of the rules being, don't press Wanda too hard about what's actually real. And so it is possible that maybe he didn't know. So Let's see. And the next thing I have was from the second episode. Okay, so the neighborhood watch meeting, when Vision shows up to the neighborhood watch meeting in the second episode, and they're offering him the pastries or whatever. And he's like, "No, I don't eat food." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "I mean, between meals, I eat food all the time." And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And then they offer him a piece of gum. You hear noise to the side. Wait, but he doesn't eat food. He said he doesn't eat food. And they're like, well, is gum really food? First of all, he already covered his tracks, so to speak, for the cheesy television audience or the characters around. He already covered his track for them. No, exactly. I do eat food. I eat meals. But they went ahead and carried forth like it was a normal thing. No, he said he doesn't eat food. And they did it nonchalantly, like it was like they just knew about it, and Vision just moved forward with it. Like, oh, okay. Which is like, okay, but he just gave like an explanation for why he said that. And everyone's just moving forward with this. No, he doesn't eat food. Just go with it. Just go with kind of a situation. Yeah. And that's kind of what I got there. The other one in that episode is going back to that scene with Dottie when the radio starts going off and everything. She says, "I've heard things about you and your husband" to Wanda, and Wanda replied with a really odd response. "Well, I don't know what you've heard, but I'm not, I don't know what you've heard, but I can assure you, I mean you no harm." Like, why would that be something somebody in a normal situation would say to somebody else? Like, I don't know what you heard, but I mean you no harm.
And that sounds like something like an alien says when they land on Earth. We mean you no harm, type of thing.
like she's saying, like, Dottie doesn't realize what the rules of the world are yet, but heard through the other people who are part of this world that, hey, be careful with Wanda, be careful around Wanda, kind of a thing. And it's like Wanda's reassuring her, hey, I understand. I understand you're here and you're having to be here. I'm not actually going to harm you. I just need you to play this role in my reality for a little bit.
Speaking of which, I always thought it was funny because Dottie's husband is another Easter egg, and little did we know, Ross Geller from Friends is in WandaVision. And I don't know why he's there, but it confirms that WandaVision does take place in the same exact world as the classic 90s TV show Friends.
That's a good point, but
no one else thought that. No one else saw him and thought that was David Schwimmer. Okay.
It's a great point, but to get off that, I'm going to pivot.
Pivot hard, man. Pivot hard.
Yeah, pivot hard. The radio starts going off there in that scene with Dottie, though. And we hear what we are expecting at this point to be Jimmy Woo's voice coming through the radio. Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda? Which also, again, is going to play into something else we want to talk about later, again, with the twins. But Dottie looks down at the radio saying, "Who is that?" And then looks back at Wanda, "Who are you?" And that tells me, like, it's a situation where some of these people, like Mr. Hart seems to be here, and like Dottie seems to be, are not quite yet familiar with the rules of Wanda's reality here. In which case, they may not know everything about her that we need to be appeasing her here. Or maybe even more appeasing the person who is putting Wanda up to having this reality. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Kind of also touching upon the blood on her hand and the red helicopter, and I'm thinking that there's another sign of this. This is stuff that was placed there that is out of Wanda's reality, out of her control. So of course it's in color. She didn't intend on Dottie having a bloody hand there. Yeah. So the blood is out of Wanda's control. Therefore it's in color. It wasn't in black and white there.
Makes sense.
And the helicopter had the sword logo on it. So it was placed there by somebody else. It wasn't placed there by Wanda.
Yeah.
And then touching real quick, touching on going back to that scene with Geraldine at the meeting before the talent show, where Wanda asked her name. She was like, "I'm Geraldine." Now that we've seen Geraldine in this episode, and the fact that she obviously knows more about Wanda and was seemingly placed there by Sword because she had the sword necklace, it seems to me that she wanted to give her real name there, but hesitated and then just made up a name. It wasn't that she didn't know who she was, it's that she knows who she is, but she hesitated on saying her real name.
Yeah.
So that's
the other things I want to bring into this real quick before we get to what I would assume is going to be the main topic. Another fun one that we had here, we did have the advertisement of the soap during this. So once again, we get another look at like Hydra here, which we know of Hydra with their background with Wanda. And like the whole finding the goddess within, they do have, what was it that they had something in this that said like, let your dreams go or something like that.
Yep.
That
just living your dreams type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, part of that, I kind of like the idea that they showed the beginning of the commercial showed a mom who was getting like frustrated with her kids, and that this was leading into Wanda becoming a mom with kids. So I like that kind of a nod, but it's now we're now talking about where Hydra really does have like some more control into this world type of thing. Real quick before we continue though, we do have Movie Fanobi did drop a super chat saying who downvoted you lovely men. How dare they be rude. I'm hoping to get more meat of the story next week, but was a good start. It's fun / different. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know who downvoted this, but I mean, as they typically say on this channel, it means the same as a like. I mean, it just gives YouTube information. So thanks. I mean, you hit a button. Awesome. That's cool.
Awesome engagement all the way around. It's funny is that they hit that way before we even started the live stream. They did that last night when we actually put the live stream up on the YouTubes. So I don't know what that means, but anyway. Yeah.
There was something else on this that he was saying, hoping to get more of the meat of the story next week. One of the things I liked that I'll reference real quick is that one of the people on Twitter that we saw was it Ben Bateman from the Movie Trivia Schmodown was tweeting out about this particular episode, and he's like, "Man, I like this. I'm losing this sitcom vibe, but I'm really hoping they pick it up." And then you just so happen to be watching it like right at that time.
Oh, I was already done with the episode when he posted. I'm halfway through it, and they better do something with this.
Yeah.
So I was like, keep watching.
And then later on, after he finished watching, he's like, "Well, this tweet didn't age well." It was fantastic. So I am fully expecting a lot more meat this next week. I expect we're going to have a lot more dabbling in the current MCU, seeing more connections with actual reality. Thing I want to go back and point out, which we're talking about, it really does surround the kids, the babies that Wanda had in this episode. This was something that was kind of hinted at before, but I feel like it's more of an actual a connection now, in that she did have twins who, again, we were foreseeing that were going to be Tommy and Billy, Thomas and William, which are the real names of Speed and Wiccan. So the thing is, in the comics, these characters were created using a piece of Mephisto's soul. Mephisto is a shape changer, basically the Satan of Marvel Comics, and master manipulator, whatever. There's been rumors before that Mephisto may be also having a hand in this, which again, we're talking about Wanda creating her own reality, that this is all a dream. Again, the trailer and the end of this episode also played, was it Daydream Believer by the Monkees? So kind of more solidifying the fact that this is all a dream. This is a fantasy world that Wanda's creating, and we have to believe that Mephisto is manipulating this. Now that we've got the kids in there, that again, the kids were created as a fraction of Mephisto's soul, his being. That's where this is coming from. And that's quite an odd direction for this to take, if that's what is actually going to happen.
But it makes sense because we're talking about somebody who can alter reality and play into not only Wanda being a part of the next Doctor Strange movie, but also playing a antagonistic role himself within the next Doctor Strange movie. And it fits. It makes sense that, you know, Mephisto could show up for the multiverse of madness and all that stuff. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting situation with the babies and what could they represent? What do they mean? I love touching on that also because the fact that she had twins with Monica Rambeau there, she was talking about, I'm a twin. I had a brother. His name was Pietro. And she actually fell into that Sokovian accent again. Started singing that song from when she was a child, from Sokovia to the children. And, you know, of course, that's when Geraldine was like, oh, your brother Pietro, he was killed by Ultron, right? And that obviously that brought her right back out into reality.
Back to reality.
which ended up snapping Monica back into reality harshly. But
I like that she told Monica, you have to go. And the next thing we see is she's actually kicked out of that reality. I wonder if Wanda does happen to know that she's in a controlled facility like this. So when she said that, she actually did mean you have to go out of this facility, this world I've created altogether.
I don't know. That really, I don't know if that really works because the way I view it here is that you got potentially Jimmy Woo talking through on the radio who's doing this to you, Wanda, which tells me that there is probably somebody else other than Wanda here in control. But I don't think that she's aware that it's a facility because you had S.H.I.E.L.D. creating a facility around Thor's hammer back in the Thor movie, in the first Thor movie. That if you know you have these government agencies are building these things around the anomalies themselves. So I think that she was already within the anomaly, so to speak. I think that there's a chance that she might be aware to some degree of Sword because the beekeeper that came out of the sewer had the sword symbol on his back. Geraldine, Monica, had the sword symbol on the necklace. So I think to some degree she's aware of Sword. Maybe Sword wanted to get a hold of her in some way and kind of find out some stuff about her and whatnot. What did Hydra do to you? Their experimentation on you. What happened there? And she just wanted to escape and go back to a reality where she could be away from all of that, away from everything that happened in the MCU so far. And you know, maybe that is where, say, like Mephisto comes into play. Say, I can get you to that reality. This is how it can work, kind of thing. And maybe that's what we see there. Okay. The other thing I want to touch on real quick from like the past episode was that in the whole magic show, if you actually go back and you watch it, you watch the scene, you watch everybody's faces when they're all cheering and clapping along and the magic tricks are getting revealed, that Vision flew up in the air and everyone's like, oh, he's flying. And then, oh no, look, there's a rope there, guys. It's a rope. Yay. And then you have Beverly like, is that how mirrors work? And Dottie told her, shut up. It makes more sense now if you go back and you look at it, especially you watch Agnes's face during that entire thing where she's going, ha ha, and she's looking around at everybody else and making sure everybody else is clapping and laughing along. I think a long way to show that, yes, we are in a reality that is created and that these people are not real, and that I think we've got the meat and bones as to kind of, or at least the bones as far what this show is, what it's structuring out for us.
Yeah.
I really like this. I really think it's interesting, and I think I'm seeing like a lot of people on Twitter right now who are saying like, nah, I'm not getting it. I don't like it. I'm like, dig a little deeper into what's happening. Understand how the reality around Wanda is working.
That's what I was saying last week is like, me, myself, I wasn't a huge fan of that Legion TV show. Just because it was way too deep. Like I couldn't dive into that. This one, I feel like you have right off the bat, you have a clear idea of like, there's something that's just beneath the surface. I feel like all of us, and like every article I read, everything I see that's talking about Easter eggs or theories about this show, I think all of us are right on the cusp. If not, we're already nailing exactly what the show is doing.
Yeah.
And I want to see more. I like what this show is doing so far. It doesn't have me lost. It has me exactly where it wants me. It has me guessing and trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. What's the big end game for this show? And how exactly is this going to connect to the rest of the MCU? But
sorry, I just heard the wah noise. It just
yeah. But again, I feel like from here on, we're going to get a lot more interaction with the actual reality, the current day reality of the MCU. And yeah. I'm eager to see. This is where we're going to see, like we know Darcy from the Thor movies has a hand in this. We'll see more of actual Jimmy Woo having a hand in this. I know, was it Evan Peters who played Pietro or Peter in the X-Men movies? He has something to do with this. Is he playing one of the kids? Is he playing like an adult version of Speed, which that would be fun.
That was, I think it was Garth. Well. I think it was Garth. Was it last week? Shared that as a theory, as a thought that he could be playing Speed. So I just really wanted to interject that real quick. Just say, like, I believe that was Garth who said that last week to us, and we kind of are jumping on it and kind of going, yeah, I think that's true. Which reminds me, guys. Really that reminds me. If any of you guys have thoughts, have theories and stuff that you want to interject, feel free to pop them into that Streamlabs, and we will actually read those out here on the air. If you jump into the Streamlabs or jump into a super chat, all those things are very welcome here. If you're new here and want to get your thoughts and theories out there, that would be a great place to do it.
Yeah. So for me overall, I'm liking where this show is going. I like this episode. I kind of agree with what Ben Bateman on Twitter was saying, that this episode was starting to kind of like just the sitcom idea is starting to kind of just drown out, or it's getting drawn out is what I actually mean. And I was like, I need some substance to this, and we got it big time by the end of this episode. I do like that. I want to go back and watch this episode again and try to find out where exactly did this go from funny sitcom with the laugh track to there's no more laugh track, this stuff just got serious type of thing. I want to see that point. I also did like, the other thing I did notice when it happened is when Geraldine got kicked out. Did you notice how like the frame of it just went wide? Like, oh, we're back in normal world now. Like this is the widescreen real world. I don't know how they did that.
It also gave away the hint that Westview is a real place. It's a real town. She's probably taken over a real town, honestly. To some degree. I know that there's some stuff within this town, like their home has the interior of their home has kind of changed a little bit between each episode. So there's some stuff that she is still manipulating here and there, but for the most part, they might actually be within a real town. But I did like that when we saw the Westview sign on the outside, I immediately noticed like the bars on the side that hold that old school aspect ratio started sliding out, and then you saw the top and bottom widescreen aspect ratio slide in to bring you back into the reality of, hey, we're in a cinematic world. We're in the real world now. We're not in the TV show world anymore. And I thought that was a really touch as well. The other thing too, going back real quick to that Hydra soap commercial, is I believe that touches back to, I believe, season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know if anybody is aware of that, but in season 4, there was like an alternate reality that Hydra was creating by giving everybody this blue soap. And this blue soap is what was like trapping their minds and whatnot within that alternate reality. I'm probably paraphrasing how the actual plot works there, but regardless, it's kind of touching back to something that happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., bringing back the idea that Hydra is mind controlling or something. So that makes me also wonder if, because now this has been what 2 Hydra references within the commercials, both the Strucker and then with this Hydra soap. Now, is it actual that maybe Hydra is controlling in some degree, still controlling Wanda in some way? Maybe Mephisto is disguised as a Hydra agent or something. I don't know how many layers this kind of goes into, but maybe Hydra is actually doing something still in regards to this. I thought they were disbanded already. I thought like after, Winter Soldier and Ultron and all that we saw the end of Hydra, but maybe they're still around kind of tinkering with some stuff.
Yeah. Or Mephisto just knows that bringing up Hydra is what's also going to push Wanda's buttons. So,
push her even deeper and even further into her reality.
Yeah. So, yeah, that might be something as well. But I like all these theories. I like that these theories can grow and get bigger and, like, if not like a little more solidified every episode we do of this. So I'm eager for a lot more. Again, if y'all have any thoughts, feelings, theories, drop them in the chat. We're about to wrap this up real quick. So there was only one episode this week. So there's really not much more to expand upon on this one episode.
Yep. We got a Streamlab real quick from Vernon. He said, something about this series seems strange.
Definitely, because I do like that this is showing that we could have a multiverse, alternate realities within. Again, going back to the idea that this is like the Truman Show, except with it being a physical stage that is being built around a person. It's a warped reality, another dimension that's wrapped around a person. So yeah, I'm curious as to how this is going to connect to Doctor Strange and Madness in the Multiverse. Even if this might dabble in Multiverse in the Madness.
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness. It hasn't come out yet, so I mean, I don't have to keep that title right yet. Or if this might have anything to do with the next Spider-Man movie, as they also look like they might be dealing with a little bit of a Spider-Verse continuity in there. So kind of interested to see how that interacts.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff here as the MCU moves forward into both cosmic and multi-dimensional, which who would have thought? Honestly, like, first of all, this show and everything else that the MCU is doing, who would have thought that we would have gotten to this point back in 2008 when they're like, we're doing an Iron Man movie, and we're like, okay, I guess they're finally moving forward on that long gestating Iron Man project that we've been working on forever. They're finally coming out with the movie. Now let's fast forward 10, 11, 12, 13 years later. And oh yeah, we have a whole television show about Scarlet Witch and Vision, their relationship, and oh yeah, it's kind of like dabbling in like alternate realities and stuff. Like what? It's remarkable what the MCU has done. So as far as like this episode goes, though, yeah, as you're saying, it started out slow. Started out with the little kind of keeping up with that sitcom vibe and everything, but as it started getting back into the kind of what's going on with Wanda, we're starting to notice that people aren't really in this reality. They are real people, and then including Monica Rambeau being thrusted out of the reality into the real world, and we see that there's that whole thing, a sword built around there. Yeah, I'm super excited for the next episode. I think this episode was great. I think it was a fantastic kind of period exclamation point, whatever punctuation you want to use on this like 3-episode arc that was all like old sitcoms and stuff. I think next one we're moving into maybe a modern sitcom, or we're moving into, all right, we're just in reality now. So that was awesome. I'm looking forward to next week. I am so excited for next week.
Yeah, because again, I feel like we're going to get more like meat and potatoes next week, and I'm a meat and potatoes type of man. I'm hungry. Yeah, meat and potatoes. I'm hungry. Pickles. So yeah, that looks like that's going to do it for tonight. So what is today? Today's Friday. So as we move on, this coming Tuesday, we do have the Tagline. It's the show where we talk about movies, movie news. It's our flagship show. So if you enjoyed the commentary here, come back while we're actually talking about multiple news and things that are happening. So that will be coming up this coming Tuesday. It's at 9:30 Central Time, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. I believe on Sunday we have a trailer that there will be a reaction to. So stick around this channel on Sunday. You'll see our reaction to the Godzilla versus Kong trailer that is coming out, and I am eager to see some footage from that because that looks like it might be good, despite how the previous movies in that series have been so far.
I miss movie trailers to big movies. I'm just so excited to see a movie trailer to a big movie again.
Yeah, so that'll be sometime on Sunday. Wednesday, we do have planned to have another ranking video out. So that'll be sometime on Wednesday. Keep your eye out for that. And then next Friday, join us again right here. We'll be talking about WandaVision episode 4, whatever its funny title is going to be. There's a chance we might be pushing back that live stream as well. That one might go back like another 30 minutes to an hour because of stuff that's happening also that day. Hamstrakt, thank you for the super chat. Just came in after the movie trivia Schmodown free agency. Want to drop by, give you guys some burger money. Stay sexy. Thank you, Hamstrakt. Thank you for that donation. Very much appreciated. Yes, the movie trivia Schmodown, great channel for movie trivia. They're doing a lot of stuff right now. They're just ramping up their new season. They do have a big episode that's dropping next Friday. So check that out. And then we'll come back over here and talk about WandaVision. So yeah, that's what's happening. Dude, anything else I feel like we need to cover?
I think we covered pretty much everything. Yeah. Loving this show. No, you guys are loving this show, and I love talking about this show. I'm excited to. I've been excited honestly every single week to kind of jump in. I know we've only done this 2 weeks now, but I'm excited every single week to jump in and talk about it because like this is a show I want to talk about.
Yes, there's only so much we can talk about here.
Yeah, staying up late. And I'm trying not even to like say so much to you like in person because we want to do this show and just kind of have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
But staying up late, watching it, I'm like sitting here with like notes going. Today I was going back and rewatching the first 2 episodes again, like my notes going while I'm working and everything. It's just been a lot of fun to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about it further.
I'm up late grabbing screenshots. Like I want to show this and talk about this later. Like a lot of fun. It's a great show so far. Again, eager to see where this goes. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Cinefanatics MLP. There's our individual ones down below. Robert Adams MLP, Chris Adams MLP, Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me on Letterboxd as I try to hit 2,000. I was going to say 3,000. 2,000 movies watched over my entire lifetime. Hit me up on my Letterboxd. Give me some recommendations. Go through my watch list. Is there something that you very much like that for some weird reason I've never seen? Let me know so I can watch it because I want to watch it and potentially talk about it at some point. So yes, Letterboxd at Robert Adams MLP.
And I also like movies.
He does too. He's just still working on his Letterboxd as well.
I got so much to do. And the Letterboxd is on the list of things to do.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here in the chat. Thank y'all for the donations. Very much appreciate it. Eager to be here. We will see y'all again next week. Y'all all have a great evening and good night. Later.
Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda?